Kiss 104.1 Atlanta's R&B. It is the Morning Groove. Our Tony and Zoom-In. Good morning, ATL. So, of course, we like to take advantage of those opportunities where we can enlighten you and educate you about a few things. And this is something I think that all families need to talk about, especially if you're raising daughters. You definitely need to know exactly what you're dealing with when they hit that point in life that, you know, little girls we like to brag about. We step into womanhood, but there's a whole string of other things that that are attached to that. I'll say that. And one of those things is birth control. So we're going to step into that conversation right now, and I'd like to introduce to the Morning Groove, Dr. Ahmad and Dr. Amsu.
Yeah. Thank you. Y'all might not like what they're about to say.
Yeah, it's great to be here right now. We're gonna sneak out the back.
Yeah, Mikey, get the exit door ready, right, Mikey?
Right. Get that exit ready because you might need
So,
it. We're going to talk about it.
They're talking about actually killing what is really a cultural thing in the black community. You know, like Tony mentioned, you know, that's the first thing that happened. Well, a girl becomes a woman.
Yes.
Get on the pill. And you guys are saying, no.
Absolutely not.
So let's just dive right in, because I was even like, I was looking at it, I said, wait a second. Wait a second. So what are the fears? What are we talking about here? Why do you guys suggest killing the pill?
Okay, first of all, there's around 11 million women that are on the pill.
11 to 13 million.
Right,
yeah.
11 to 13 million women that are on birth control. We just call it the pill because that's the best nickname for it. And 35% of those women who are on the pill are not on it for contraceptive reasons.
Correct.
That means it's not about avoiding pregnancy. It's actually about other reasons. Now, these reasons are hormonal acne, the cramping, the irregular bleeding, you know, all stuff that's associated or caused by hormonal imbalance. So there's a issue going on within the body that's causing these problems, right? So young girls
From the age of 13.
from the age of 13, they're going with their mothers, and the OBGYNs are saying to them, well, we're going to put you onto the pill. What they don't tell them is about all these side effects. And the side effects are horror shows, right?
Gosh.
There's a plethora of side effects, including depression, suicidal depression,
Right.
where there's you have brain shrinking, neurological issues, brain shrinkage, glands in the brain shrink. You have thyroid issues, which, you know, in life, you need your thyroid for metabolism.
Right.
Because of the metabolism issue, you're dealing with mental issues that follow because nutrients that are needed to help you to quash moods or, you know, urges for violence or anger or depression, those are now inhibited. So you just have bipolar situations going on where anxiety, you know,
short-tempered, mood swings, and again, you know, basically social behavior.
Antisocial behavior.
Yeah, antisocial behavior. And one of the things that we want to put across today is that you have to understand that you actually are putting synthetic and artificial hormones into the body, okay, to prevent something that's naturally supposed to occur.
Yes.
Blood clots is another side effect. It's an endocrine disruptor, what we call. So your body's naturally full of chemicals. We're chemical beings, and we get driven by our hormones. Everything that we're doing, how we're interacting with you right now, speaking, is hormone driven. So
every mood you have, whether you're happy, sad, angry, joyous, whatever, these are chemical reactions going on in your body. When that is disrupted now you're dealing with an illness of moods. That's mental illness.
That is super scary, because when you think about it, that one little pill can alter the whole psyche, everything.
There's steroids.
I mean,
absolutely
everything.
powerful steroids.
Powerful steroids. Look, estrogen and progesterone or progestin, which is the synthetic form, these are powerful steroids. Estrogen is what we call a catabolic steroid, meaning it breaks down cells, right? by breaking cells down, it leads to muscle being turned into fat.
Yeah.
Especially when there's an abundance, what we call estrogen dominance.
So cells have within them mitochondria, right? Mitochondria is the energy of the cell. Estrogen gets into the cell and attacks mitochondria. So the cell loses its charge. Therefore, now you're dealing with useless cells. Useless cells turn into tumor. Either it's benign tumors or malignant tumors.
Yeah.
So benign tumors, one of the results of the pill or birth control is fibroids, cysts,
Endometriosis.
PCOS, you know, adenomyosis, all these issues,
Even cervical cancer.
chronic inflammatory conditions.
Absolutely.
So yeah, one of the things is the World Health Organization classes the pill birth control as a group 1 carcinogen. That means it's cancerous.
Let me
the
ask
World
a
Health
question.
Organization.
I just want to jump in real quick. So you are saying that the rise in cancer rates with women could be directly related to use.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
not
Absolutely.
could be, not could
Yeah.
be, absolutely is. Cervical cancer and breast cancer.
You have to remember, you got two main receptors. You got the progesterone receptor and the estrogen receptor in the breast. So when you're now having an excessive amount of estrogen, and then you got synthetic estrogen, which then is going to deplete the natural regulator of progesterone, now the woman is producing more estrogen with those cells, and those abnormal cells can turn into breast cancer. So yes, to answer your
And it
question,
also leaves the cervix open to infection from HPV, which will cause cancer, cervical cancer.
Yeah.
Plus, it all these steroids, progesterone and estrogen, when they're synthetic and they're excessive in the body, these women open to STDs, higher risk, 50% more likely to catch genital herpes or another form of your STD,
STD.
HIV as well, leaves it open. That's why the rates are so high, especially among African American women who are more likely to be put onto the pill because African American parents don't question authority. The OBGYNs are saying, take this. And the mothers are like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Yeah, thank you for that. But they're actually putting their daughters at risk. This goes on for years. So a lot of girls are on the pill and they didn't even make the choice. Their parent made the choice for them, thinking it was the right thing. So by the time they're 20, 22, 23, they've been on the pill for like 10 years, 12 years.
Right.
Now they've got adenomyosis, or they've got fibroids, or they've got PCOS, or they've,
endometriosis is
some chronic disease that when they try to get off the pill now, some women get married, they want to have a baby now, leaves them, infertile. Black women have never been trying to get pregnant. They just get pregnant, right?
And if you look at the chart, we're depleting. Every year we're dropping. The rate is going lower and lower.
Fertility
and
and fecundity rates are going down.
And I mean, that's never been an issue within our black race or black community.
You're so
Never.
right. There's more IVF being used more now than ever before. And it's interesting because I won't mention her name because I don't want to imply that her story is related to or the cause of birth control. But there's one very popular reality star who had a struggle with fibroids and it couldn't conceive naturally, and she had to resort to IVF treatments.
Exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it just makes you wonder.
Well, the most famous person is Gabrielle Union, who actually came out and spoke about that she was put onto the pill. She had irregular bleeding and that she was put onto the pill, and then she found out when she was trying to have a baby, she's got adenomyosis, and she's tried IVF and gotten pregnant. And to lose the babies,
because that's
plural, and then she's had to resort to adoption.
Well, think about it for a second.
Or surrogate mother, right?
Right. So think about what we're saying here now. With a woman's body, naturally, she's supposed to give life. That's the way the anatomy is set up for the female. And every 28 days, they're supposed to have what we call a internal mechanism cleaner, right? Which is your cycle.
Yeah.
Now, you're taking a synthetic steroid that's saying, stop doing that. Stop doing that. Woo. So it sounds, excellent, because I'm not cramping, I'm not bleeding, I'm not going through all of those mood swings, all of those issues that come around that time of the month I've avoided by taking this pill. But when you really look at it, what are you saying? You're stopping your body from doing something naturally. And then what happens eventually, the body's like, well, you're pregnant all the time.
Yeah.
We don't need to send these hormones anymore. And then, like Dr. Amsu just said previously, I want to get married now. I want to have a family.
Exactly.
I get off the pill, and they don't tell you the side effects, blood clots, you know, strokes, all of these things that can happen. But when you get off the pill, it's almost like your body reacts like you're just coming off crack or heroin.
Yeah.
You start getting all the shivers, the headaches, the mood swings, the weight gain, the water tension, but then you can't concede.
Yeah.
You know, if you do, you have a chances of 80% of miscarriaging because the body has been conditioned for so long of you're pregnant.
Right, it fools the body into believing it's pregnant. Imagine being pregnant for 13 years.
13 years.
The stress.
I mean, when you talk about it loud like this, right? It just sounds...
No, it is a horror story, and it's so I gotta thank my mother right now because I know we're in a room full of men, but I got my cycle when I was 11. Okay. And so my dad's side of the family, their theory was that common black family theory, put her on the pill, put her on the pill. My mom was like, no, absolutely not. And I thank God she never did that.
Right.
Because God knows, and I don't have children just yet, but I would have probably would have killed all of my chances starting that young at 11, 12 years old. And to be on the pill for decades and decades, like that, it's just scary.
We want to let them know as well, right, Dr. Amsu? There's the pill, there's Depot.
Right, you got the injection.
Yeah.
Imagine you get an injection and you don't have a period, or for a while, and every 6 months you get a re-up or whatever. You got the patch,
So let's do this clearly, so we can be concise about it. Give me the list of what you think women should stay away from. And then give me a safe alternative for birth control.
All of them.
All of them.
Every last one of them.
All of them.
So
don't
condoms.
do it.
Just use condoms.
Condoms are the best of the worst. Because condoms have spermicide, which also messes with the pH.
Oh, God!
And then
wait a minute now.
And BV is an issue. Especially IUDs also cause bacterial vaginosis. Like there's an explosion of it with women with hormonal IUDs. The copper, even if it's not hormonal, the copper causes, lowers, it raises the pH.
So
right?
you want all men to use the pull-out method. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no.
You should just wait until you're married.
Quick draw McGraw over here. That's his method. I don't know.
I got too many children to say that my pull-out game.
It ain't working. It ain't
We got there in the end.
But no, I mean, I know we sounded like Dr. Doom and Dr. Judgment.
But keep it real. But
there is. We are going to bring some natural alternatives. Maybe not to say we've got an equivalent of the pill, but let's go back a little bit and go back to when you was 11 and 13 and when you went into womanhood and you started your cycle. Well, what usually happens, depending on the culture you're coming from, we're coming from a Caribbean culture household, so it's always jerk chicken, brown stew fish, mac and cheese.
Did you say mac and cheese?
We still have macaroni and cheese, roast potatoes, cabbage.
Not in my house, mac and cheese.
But we had heavily the stewed chicken,
rice and peas,
corigo, oxtail,
right, bami, yes,
all of those
breadfruit,
right,
dasheen, them things there.
But the point, But the point is that it's down to the lifestyle. Okay, is a lot of these issues are caused by dietary in proportion what we're taking, inflammatory foods. Okay, so what we want to suggest or what we want to introduce and bring is certain alternatives. Just small little things. We know not everyone's going to be a so-called vegan or plant-based overnight, but if you can cut out some of these things and replace them with other things, then that's a start. And for instance, a lot of girls at 13 and that age, they like to indulge in a lot of ice cream, dairy products, cheese, all of that fast food junk. Cut that out. Put a bit more greens on the table, some green leaves, some spinach, some Well, when I say spinach, I mean the family of spinach, right? Because people will say, well, Dr. Say, I'm talking like you can get Egyptian organic spinach. You can get arugula.
Yeah.
You could get dandelion.
Yeah.
You could get black dinosaur kale. You can have red or green cabbage. You can get
Yummy,
right?
No, I'm saying yummy. Everyone's at home saying yuck.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. You can get callaloo, right? Dashin. All of these things carry a chemical which is like sarcophagus chemical, which inhibits a lot of the estrogen or the estrogen dominance. All right, because this is the problem that we have to also address, is that with black women, they metabolize differently from white to orientals, etc. So knowing that and how to metabolize, then we have to eat according to our genetics, right? Now, a lot of the things I said, like Dr. Amsu said, was like, ugh. But you could season them up, spice them up with your spices, and there's certain spices that you can use on them to make them taste Caribbean or the Southern South. But these are the small steps that you can, eliminate the sodas.
I just wanted to reiterate something so that it's not missed. Black women, African Americans, black people, we metabolize food differently than everybody else. Because we metabolize differently, that means we can't eat the same as Becky with the good hair. You understand what I'm saying? We can't eat the same.
You're right.
And when we eat the same, right, it affects us adversely. So things like fibroids, black women are 5 times more likely to get fibroids if they eat the same diet as white women, right?
American Standard Diet. We refer to
5 times more likely to get PCOS, 3 times more likely to get endometriosis, right? Breast cancer is a less number, but if you're on that pill, now it goes through the roof.
Right.
If you're on the pill. So the hormonal imbalance that we were speaking about earlier is caused by lifestyle, by the food choices. So things like soda,
right?
Candy, right? Bread,
cheese,
Mickey D's. We just say Mickey D's. We don't go
Burger
with
King,
right.
Mickey
all
D's,
of
Wendy's,
those, right?
of them.
All of those things, all those candy, right? We just had Halloween or trick or treat, right? All of that there is
those
terrible.
See, they're throwing candies in the trash can right now.
Hormonal acne.
He just got rid of his stash.
Hormonal acne or acne, right? Because some people, if you say hormonal acne, they're like, is that different from acne? No, it's the same thing, right? Acne is caused because of hormonal imbalance.
Absolutely.
A lot of girls, because they're under pressure at school, they wanna look fine, they wanna be in a popular group, they want their skin to be clear. They also don't wanna be thin, right? So a lot of young black girls, they're slim, right, with a little bit of back, right? But they want bigger breasts, they want bigger backs and whatnot. So they actually say, I can't put on any weight, I can't. And that is one of the answers, is to get onto birth control, because it will help to fill you out. How does it do that? Slows down the thyroid gland, which is responsible for metabolism, right?
Yeah.
So you start to put weight on. Problem is, you put it on and on. And then there's a point where I want to lose weight. Now you can't lose weight because the thyroid gland has been damaged. Right.
Yeah.
It's out of whack.
Yeah.
So so introducing, and also some like exercises, walks in the parks, running, swimming, things like that. Just drinking more natural fruit, juicing, smoothies. There's a lot of alternatives. Like, I don't want people to think going vegan or vegetarian or plant-based is boring, or there's no options. There's tons of options out there, and it's a small price to pay, to keep yourself healthy. And that's what it really is about. It's about knowing yourself as a woman and as a man. It's knowing yourself. And more with a woman, it's actually getting in tune with her body, with her cycle, knowing what's triggering. Do I eat too much chocolate? Well, they're injecting steroids. They are filling that ingredients with soy lecithin and that in chocolate, which they don't have to do.
Right.
But they're doing it because you got to understand, behind closed doors, which is really scary, is that there's actually a plan going on here. Especially, there's a plan, and they're lining you up. So when you bring your daughter, and this is why it's good that we got men here, because men, we need to be educated.
Yeah.
We have daughters, we have sisters, we have wives. Okay, so we
some
need
of
to
us,
be
some of us have side
Stop
side
it.
options as well. I'm just putting it out there, brothers, because the side chicks, the side chicks don't get the care. They don't get the care, man. Care about your side chicks, brothers.
Everybody.
Care about your side chicks as well,
right?
man. Show a bit of
on a
love.
path here now. All right. So we say side chicks. You got side kicks for men. All right. So
Okay.
the men out there with the side chicks, everyone. The point is that we need to be informed as men as well.
Yeah.
We need to know what's going on in our house when we're with our wives and with our daughters. So we need to also observe that to know, like, okay, why is my daughter locking herself in the room? Why is she so upset? Why is she gaining? What's going on? We turn to the wife or our other half, like, what's going on? You're a woman, you should know. And she's like, well, I don't really know. It's this. It's the damn pill.
Yeah.
It's the diet as well. You see, so knowing a couple of these things and as a unit implementing them into the household, like I said, more greens, some water, some exercise, some fresh air, instead of just putting them on these smartphones and iPods and things like that.
Video games.
And video games, just get them out. And it makes a world of difference, I'm telling you.
I really appreciate that we have y'all here, but I'm perplexed as to why are the other people who know this information not sharing it in the way that y'all are?
That's a
And
big
that is a big
Well,
question.
check this out,
Go on,
right?
Tom.
We have a whole lot of patients. The majority, like 95% of the female patients that we have, they have fibroids or PCOS or endometriosis, but the majority is fibroids, right? And it's a result of the birth control pill. It's a result because we always ask the questions. Were you ever on the pill? Yes. How long for? 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 15 years, 20 years. And it's like, okay, this is the problem. Now, the diet, going back to the diet, a lot of black people do not want to give up meat. But because of the flavor, we love the taste of meat and all that. But the flavor of meat, if you ever eat, I don't know if you've ever eaten meat without seasoning, right? You may have gone somewhere and it's like, man, this kind of tastes bland. The seasoning
is doing
and the spices, the seasoning and the spices are responsible for the taste. So in the whole vegetarian, vegan community, there are meat replacements or
and we ain't talking about soy.
Not soy, but
good.
things like jackfruit, things like hemp, where
Soursop meat,
cauliflower, where you spice it and it tastes like chicken wings.
Wow, okay.
Tastes like mutton. It tastes, I had my family over here in the summer, and we have in Jamaica we have a thing called Saturday soup, but we call it Saturday soup, right? And I said, all right, use jackfruit instead of mutton. And then my sister seasoned it up, tasted just like it. So they were like, wow, we're not going back to mutton ever again. Because in my family...
Lie them tell us.
No, in my family, my mum had a hysterectomy. My mum had a hysterectomy when I was in my teens. All of my sisters have fibroids. And I told them all, look, because I'm an endocrinologist, I told them meat is full of toxins, especially xenoestrogens. It behaves like estrogen. Cows have their own estrogen, right?
Right.
Or, chickens, any kind of meat is estrogen loaded. And estrogen dominance is the root cause, and I'm going to say this, the root cause of all female reproductive disorders.
Wow.
All of them.
Wow.
Right? And the pill is loaded with synthetic
we have to say
estrogen,
Yeah.
which is a multiplication amplified steroid that's going to break you down.
I just want to go back to the young gentleman in the corner there to answer his question. Why a lot of people are not coming out and speaking about this? Because there's a lot of money in this.
Exactly.
Right?
Big business.
Because what happens is you get this 13-year-old, 14-year-old girl, she gets put it on a pill. Within 5-10 years, she goes for like an ultra scan. She finds that she's got maybe a little pea-sized fibroid. They tell her nothing to worry about.
We're going to monitor it.
We're going to monitor it. Now, I don't know how they monitor it, right? But they say this to you, right? Then maybe another 6 months to a year later. Now, in that space of time, your cycle's getting worse.
Yeah.
You're noticing that your stomach is starting to stick out or bloat. You maybe
Cramps
can't even
are
have
worse.
intimacy, you know, pain, just discomfort. Just a nightmare. You go back, this little pea now is the size of a grapefruit, a watermelon. And then they're telling you, you can have a myomectomy or a hysterectomy. So now they set you up for a myomectomy. They remove the fibroid, but they don't get down to the root cause, which is estrogen dominance.
Yeah.
So guess what happens at the end of the 6 to 8 months? More fibroids
You're
come
back.
back,
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
aggressive.
And that other
side.
one has grown.
And that other one has grown. So now they're saying they want a hysterectomy, which is removing the womb. That is $20,000 to $50,000
Yeah.
a pop.
Yeah.
So it's about money, people. Let's just be real. They don't. And when it comes to certain races, they're going to overlook certain things as well. You know, but what we want to tell people is that there is natural alternative. It's
Right.
not all doom and gloom. And we have a YouTube channel, the Electric Docs, that we love people to subscribe because we will be doing live QAs. We'll be having segments, shows going into a lot more detail. I mean, we just skimmed the surface today, giving you a lot of topics and things to think
Also,
about.
just to add in there, we're not just here just talking about, all right, this is what the problem is. This is what the problem is.
Right.
The solution.
Exactly.
We
Yeah.
are endocrinologists and we are herbalists. We're naturopathic doctors.
Right.
So our whole thing was finding a solution. So we have a whole range of products for female reproductive disorders called Her Balance.
Her balance.
Her Balance. And we
Okay.
have a specific supplement, dietary supplement in a tincture form. Take it under the tongue.
Yeah.
Right? It's because it goes straight into the bloodstream. It's called Stability.
Yeah.
Stability balances hormones. It's
Absolutely.
going to regulate hormones, balance them. If there's excess estrogen, it's going to bring it down. Estrogen dominance means that there's more estrogen being produced than progesterone, which messes with the cycle. This is why heavy bleeding occurs,
Right.
cramps, and the
Right.
cramps are debilitating. A lot of women don't want to leave their house because they don't want to be halfway down the street,
And-
and a quarter
yeah.
blood technique
Yeah. No,
comes into
seriously.
effect,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So these are all where the bleeding is going to subside and diminish because women are only supposed to spot
Exactly. That's another thing.
a cupful or quarter of a cup, like a teaspoon.
Like a teaspoon.
A teaspoon
for 3
even
days.
for 3 days,
So when you're
right? That's
bleeding-
natural.
Right.
That's natural. When you're hemorrhaging, we like to call
That's
it.
what it is,
That's
it's a
when you and anemia.
flow is heavy.
Anemia is a result of that. So the hormonal acne, the bloating, the cramping,
Heavy bleeding.
irregular bleeding, all of that stuff. Amenorrhea, where it's like you may bleed 1 month, then not another month, and whatever. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. Especially
you're eating right.
Especially if you're athletic, especially if you've just started the cycle. Don't worry about that. And stability regulates everything. So the hormonal acne is going to disappear. The acne, all of these, the bleeding is going to diminish. The cramping is going to disappear. We've had testimonials. Everybody who gets onto our program or takes stability, the first thing they're like, I didn't cramp.
Where can I get stability from?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say because we got to wrap up here in a
Right.
second.
Okay.
So let them know again where they can find you. And,
Okay, so they can actually get stability
Yes.
or any of the Her Balance products from electricfood.com.
And food is spelled PHOOD.
Okay.
So electricphood.com.